The following program contains names, places, and events that have been anonymized or fictionalized for the purposes of protection and safety. The following program is provided for entertainment purposes only, and any commentary from the hosts are strictly conjecture and should not be held as making any definitive statements about the truth or identity of any particular individuals or circumstances. If you or a loved one are involved in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 for support.
Happy dating today.
Monday.
You guys, we're in studio together and it's the best when we're together, but that was so funny.
It's actually Friday when we're recording. And last night we got to go to a very cool party because there's a podcast category at the Golden Globes
The Golden Globes nominee pre-party. And it was so amazing. We got to meet some incredible people, incredible artists, and it was really awesome. And we went there because you guys listened to our show.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. So our gratitude is so big. Thank you so much for supporting our podcast.
Shout out to my dad who thinks we're nominated. And he kept saying like, congratulations. I'm like, no, thank you. But we're not nominated yet.
Not yet.
But I love that you think that.
And there were a lot of really great podcast hosts there that it was really amazing to meet. So really cool to be in that space. Thank you so much. It's all because of you guys for listening, supporting us, and sharing your incredible, vulnerable stories that you're so brave and courageous to share. So thank you so much. Thank you to our Patreoners, which, by the way, now we have the 2 Patreon tiers, the $5 where you get the 2 bonus episodes and the book club, which, by the way, is next Sunday.
It's 2 Sundays from now, right?
The 18th.
The 18th.
Right? Yeah.
Pretty Things.
Yes.
The book is Pretty Things. Some of you I know have read it. It's a quick read. So read it, but also if you're somebody that wants to make sure you remember it, maybe the week of.
And then the $9 tier is basically the ad-free listening. So you get to join the Patreon and we would love to have you there if you're not there already. And if you are there, of course, thank you again so much. It's just, we're filled with so much gratitude and it's a new year. So we're going to do great things with you guys.
Cool way to kick off the year.
Anyways, today we want to share a Mackenzie Undercover story with you.
Yay!
So this was a case that I worked that I've been a little bit kind of not nervous to share, but it could be very triggering for some people. It involves pregnancy, surrogacy, and it can be a little triggering. And so I just want to let you guys know that these are cases that I actually worked. These are just facts that I'm sharing with you. Some of them are gonna piss you off.
Yeah,
and
well,
I'm really sorry for that, but it's important to know, like, this stuff is, like, some of this stuff is stranger than fiction. Like, you can't make this up.
And our guests are so vulnerable, like we said, and it's amazing. What I think is so fun about having you or some of the other PIs who have come on is you guys are the flies on the wall, seeing the stories that no one wants to admit. Like, some of, definitely these dogfish are not going to come out and talk about them, but we know how hard it is to tell your story. And I'm grateful that we have a way to see what's happening behind closed doors through you in a way that obviously you're changing appropriate details. We have a legal team, like we're keeping it, nobody's getting put on blast publicly, but it's like we can still learn from these stories. And also from what you've told me about this one, it's wild.
Yeah, so I think we should jump into it because Hannah's face is like, she's dying to hear this story. So this one involves 2 men who are in a relationship, and these are 2 30-something professional men. They've been married a couple of years. They want to have a baby. And as we all know, a man and a woman need to come together to make a baby and sperm fertilize the egg. Y'all know how that works, right? We don't need to have the birds and the bees talk. But with same-sex couples, when they want to have a baby, obviously there needs to be a different person
There's
who
some
can
options,
offer a sperm or an egg or whatever the case is, however they want to do it. But these 2 men want to have a baby. So the story that I'm going to share with you about this is mostly information that I learned after the fact. And then I'm going to get to the point where I come in to do the surveillance. So I'm going to tell it in a way that is timeline. And then we'll get to the point where I do the surveillance. So the story starts with, let's call them Adam and Steve, because that's funny.
Wait, that's great.
So
Adam and Steve.
Yeah. So let's say Adam and Steve, they want to get together. They want to have a baby, right? So they decide that they are going to, instead of finding a stranger, They have a good friend who is married. So it's a straight heterosexual couple. And they are willing to pay this woman who is in this heterosexual couple, who they are very good friends with for like 10 years. They want to pay her to have their baby. The husband is okay with it. And the husband of what we're going to call them Betsy and Bob. That's so
Adam,
funny.
Steve, Betsy, Bob.
Adam, Steve, Betsy, and Bob. Okay, so Adam and Steve go to Betsy and Bob and say, hey, we're really good friends with you. We trust you. We would like for you, Betsy, to be the surrogate mother of our child. Now, obviously, for Bob, the husband of this woman, I would imagine like he'd be like, a little like, oh, what's going on? Like that's my wife. But they talked about like what they're going to do. Well,
It doesn't, yeah. I feel like every TV show when this happens, the guy's like, do you have to do sex with the man? And it's like, no, we've got other.
we got a turkey baster, like calm
Yeah.
down. But they decided they didn't want to go the medical route. So they decided that Adam from the gay couple was going to have sex with Betsy. So she's monitoring her. And Betsy and Bob have 2 children of their own. They're kind of done having kids. Like they didn't want to raise any more kids, but she was at a good age. Like they're the same age as them, like early 30s. So she didn't mind being pregnant. They're offering them some money and this is some income to add to their families. And they say, hey, we want you to have our baby, but we don't want to do it medically because that's a waste of money. And we feel like we could pay you instead. And we could just do it the traditional way of how you make a baby.
Wow.
Now, Adam and Steve have been married for several years. And Bob is like, well, I mean, it is extra money. Like, talk about indecent proposal. So all 3 of the men, kind of talk, obviously with Betsy involved because she's willing to do it. But when they talked about actually having sex, she was like, that's kind of weird. But like, I mean, it's how, it's how babies are made.
I'm not judging. I think it sounds intriguing.
Yeah. But I mean,
you got to all be really on the same page.
And I could imagine the long-term effects of knowing like, well, you did this with this guy or like I could but whatever. But they decide the money would be great for their family. So they decide together as a foursome, they said, we not only do we want you to be the surrogate for our child, but we also want you to be the godparents of our kids. Like we love you guys. We're very close. And also, by the way, Adam, the guy that was going to have sex with Betsy to get pregnant, he is bisexual. So he had been with women before where Steve had not. Steve has always been gay, not interested. So Adam and Betsy get together. They're marking her ovulation. They have sex. And from what I understand, just from the details I was given, which I didn't want to pry anymore just because it was unprofessional in the moment and like kind of weird. But I didn't really, I was like, oh, did you guys have like a seance together? Like, what'd you do? Like, were you guys holding hands? Like, was this like a kumbaya thing? And you were like circled, like were the other people in the room? Like, I don't really know how it went down. All I know is that Adam and Betsy had sex. Everyone was on board. Everyone knew everyone was on the up and up. They understood this is what was happening. So apparently for 3 days, they had sex during her ovulation window or whatever. And she gets pregnant the very first time that they have the very first 3 days, like in that 3 days, she gets pregnant. Okay. And from what I understand, they had already talked about Bob and Betsy abstaining from sex so that it would for sure be the other guy's baby. So they wanted to make sure this was not Bob's baby. They wanted to make sure that this was Adam's baby with Betsy. And so then they would both be the father and you do the legal adoption, whatever. So that Adam and Steve can both be the legal parents of this child.
The new year hits and suddenly I just want to reorganize everything and change up my whole life. I'm going one thing at a time. I really did want to like learn how to dress myself this year. I've never been great at it. I don't think I have the visual eye, but I'm getting better and I think I know what I like. But now I'm using Daily Look and guys, I'm blown away. I'm like very pleasantly surprised by this option. Our podcast is sponsored by Daily Look. What it is it's the #1 highest rated premium personal styling service for women. And basically you get a dedicated personal stylist to curate a box of clothes based on your body shape, your preferences, your lifestyle. You fill out the form and it is pretty detailed and a lot of visual references that you can use to kind of, it's almost felt like I was on Tinder, but for different clothing styles. Like I was swiping through styles. It says very clearly this is not an algorithm. This is a real personal stylist. You get the same stylist every time. And how it works is so simple. You fill out their style quiz, including the price and your lifestyle preferences. I think that they include price is amazing. And then you get up to 12 hand selected items delivered to your home. And then you just buy what you love and send back the rest. They offer free shipping both ways. It's very easy. Let me tell you what I got. I got a pair of wide leg jeans that fit perfectly. And it's so hard to find good jeans. I got a blazer, a black blazer that I'm going to wear all the time, two sweaters that I might not have thought I would look good in. And I actually like them a lot. And it's great because sometimes I struggle with like business casual when I have an event that's like formal, but not too formal. And it's perfect. And then I got a little skirt, like the cutest little black skirt that's like actually a skirt and has a little belt and it's so easy. It's all just stuff that I was like, wait, I want to keep all of it. And it really did fit my style. It's time to get your own personal stylist with Daily Look. Head to dailylook.com to take your style quiz and use code Dating Detectives for 50% off your first order. Once again, that's dailylook.com for 50% off.
So she gets pregnant, okay? So she's carrying this baby. And for the next 9 months, they're hanging out, they're spending time together. They're really, really getting close, like as I would imagine they would, because this
That's their
woman is
baby.
carrying your child. So you have a group chat that they are all in. And this is how they chose to communicate so that if something was happening, they were all part of it. Even Bob, who he obviously, I think as the husband, like he deserved to be
He's
part
part
of it
of it.
too.
Yeah. And if he's going to be a godparent,
Of
like
course. And so they wanted to make sure that everything was on the up and up. Sounds great, right? All right, cool. You wanted to avoid the medical route. Fine. So they're in a group chat. So Betsy is about, I don't know, 32 weeks along, 32 or 36. I don't know. It was very close to when she was supposed to give birth. And they named the baby together, Adam and Steve. They're in control of everything. Betsy and Bob understand that Betsy is just the surrogate, but also she's enjoying this, right? And they're getting really close. So it's right before it comes time for her to give birth. She has to go to one of the checkups. So Steve happened to be available on the day
is that the
of,
one she had sex with?
no.
No. Okay.
So Adam she had sex with.
Right.
Steve was the guy who's gay. So during her appointments, someone would go with her so she wasn't alone. And it's kind of cool. You have all these different people involved and they're all there to support you, which I think is neat. And like, obviously, from what I understand, Bob was supportive of her, but also tried to stay out because it wasn't his baby, but he did want to support her and his friends. And so he was involved. But Adam and Steve were kind of like taking turns or like whenever they were available, they would go with her to her appointment. So she was never alone. So Steve goes with her to her appointment during one of the last appointments. And so they have this group chat with all four of them, right? And the group chat gets a text from Steve that says, "It was really good seeing you like that again today."
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. So Steve texts the group chat, "It was really good seeing you like that again today." And so obviously everybody's like, I'm sorry, what? So then
I guess that could be.
Yeah. And so Steve texts that to the group chat. And so Steve, he fumbles the ball. So he tries to pick it up and he's like, oh, I meant like the vulnerability. I was so excited to see Betsy in this like vulnerable moment in like with the baby and all that stuff. And so nobody really knows what's going on, but he's trying to fix it. Okay. So Bob actually is the one that says, hey, is everything okay? Is there something going on? Like he texts the group chat and says, what's going on? Like, is it,
what did that mean?
What did that mean? Like, that sounds really weird. And I can imagine in Bob's position, a little insecure, maybe like your wife is carrying another man's baby. But I like, if it was me, I would think,
I was going to say, what would you do?
I'm not worried about it because that's Steve. Like Steve's the gay guy.
I wouldn't also text the group chat. I would call my wife.
Okay. Well, he didn't. He texted the group chat and he's like, hey guys, like we're in this together. What the hell does that mean? Because obviously, and he's sitting with it for a couple of days before he comes back to the group chat and says, okay, this is still sitting with me. What does this mean? So this strange message is sitting with Bob and he's not liking it. And he's like, I just don't get it. And they're like, oh, it's nothing. She was just so vulnerable. His man tuition. So they just kind of, played it off, whatever. Well, Bob at this point is really insecure. Okay. So Bob tells his sister. So Bob's sister's name is Stacy. So Bob confides in his sister Stacy, and Stacy is what do you call them? They do the liaison when you're getting a divorce, the mediator for divorces.
Yeah.
Like that's what she does. She's a mediator.
Oh, so she's seen things.
So she's seen things, and she obviously, like, she's got some spidey senses too. Like, she don't trust nobody either because she's a mediator. She knows that people are manipulative. So Bob goes to Stacy. Well, the sister, being a mediator, she comes to me as a private investigator.
Oh.
And she says, hey, and this is someone that she's
You've
worked with our firm before.
Okay.
Like, so she's familiar with our team. She's familiar with me. And so Stacy comes and says, hey, is there something we can look into about this? Because my spidey senses are tingling. My femtuition is off. My brother's in this position. I've never liked it, but it works for their family. And who am I to say anything? I've seen crazier things in my career. Like,
yeah. And now we have a shred of evidence that there might be something going on.
Yeah. But again, Bob's not worried about it because Steve is gay. So he's not
worried about it, but he's still telling his sister.
He tells
he's
his
got
sister.
It deep down.
So I said, okay, well, let's start with what we can figure out about. First of all, obviously, I wanted a deep dive. Like, I wanted all the details. So Stacy goes to Bob and says, listen, can you give me more details? Like, I'd really like to know more about this situation. I've been trying to not be real nosy about it, but I really am curious more about this. And so Bob kind of starts to confide in Stacy that he's a little skeptical. Like, he's like, I don't know, like, we're in this group chat, but it's just really weird. So then Stacy's now planting seeds in Bob's head. Like, so Bob decides he's going to pull text records. Like, he's going to go in their cell phone records, and he wants to he wants to know if they're texting on the side, because he's like, if this was an accidental text, which clearly something like that, like, it was really good to see you like that again today. It sounds like if you're looking at it it's
flirty
in the different light. Like, there are different ways you can look at that.
Right.
And it's a little flirty. But at first he was like, I'm just being stupid. This guy's gay. There's no way. Like, that's ridiculous. So he starts looking at text messages. Well,
and
Stacey,
he pulls them he goes through her phone. He literally pulls the records.
He just goes to Verizon.com, looks at their phone plan, pulls up the text, and you can't pull up the conversations without a warrant. But you can pull up the text numbers, times, dates, and all of that.
Oh, so
the timestamp.
Okay.
So, but the actual conversations you need a warrant for. So he sees that she has actually been texting Steve. Betsy has been texting gay Steve on the side, outside of their group chat. Well, they decided in the beginning that this would be everything on the up and up. Everybody would be in a group chat. Nobody would be on one-on-one chats. There's no need for it.
Yeah.
If Stacy is talking to Adam, then she needs to be able to talk to everybody. Like, this is a group project, okay?
It's a really good idea.
Basically setting the expectation. If you are chatting with someone outside of our group chat, that, first of all, no, that's a no-no.
Yeah,
because
you're crossing a boundary.
Yeah, you're crossing a boundary. Well, Stacy ain't friggin' having it. Stacy's like, you're not out here all willy-nilly just watching your wife be pregnant with some other dude's baby, and we're just supposed to sit by and be like, this is fine. And it's not the norm, obviously. Like, when this happens, most of the time people go through medical procedures insemination to make sure that no one feels violated in their body, and it can be done, in a way that's a little bit more sterile, and a little less intimate, but also you don't need the intimacy if you're just going to be a surrogate, right? Like, obviously that's an intimate situation, but you know what I mean? Like, sexual intimacy.
There's definitely no roadmap for the way they've chosen to navigate this.
But also, that was their choice, and they decided together as consenting adults. They all enthusiastically consented to this, okay? And this is what makes it really difficult, is that Stacy, as Bob's sister, she's worried about Bob because Bob is kind of the outsider here. He's not the sperm. He's not the egg. He's not the parent.
I just thought of a question.
Oh, what question?
What legal rights does she have? Like, did they put any legal writing in place to say that this would be the couple's child and she wouldn't have rights to it? Or are they waiting to do it after?
They did see an attorney who got them set up with the appropriate documentation so that they have it all set up. Like, this is not her child. She is
Okay.
prepared to sign over all parental rights to this couple. Like, they're doing the adoption and everything as the baby is in her belly. They are doing the adoption. Yeah, they had all of that worked out in the
They
beginning. That's a
did.
really good question. So Stacy is just, she is paralyzed with fear for Bob, that he is just not, like, something ain't right. He pulls the text and he sees that Betsy and Steve are actually texting at certain times of the evening. And it was always during a time when Betsy would say she's going to the gym. And so he noticed that every time she would go to the gym, she would stop texting. There was no activity on her phone whatsoever. So
She's
he's
exercising her thumbs.
yeah, right. So he's thinking, okay, if she's going to the gym and then all text messages stop for the next 2 or 3 hours while she's at the gym, these several nights a week, she's either really working out hard or she's busy and she's not actually at the gym. And so because Stacy has this mind, like, she sees, other things that have happened. And so Stacy is like, listen, I'll buy it. I ain't picking up what you're putting down, fella. And so she starts to get really curious. And Bob's like, you're being ridiculous. This is silly. Well, Stacy decides, I want to see what she's doing during these times when he's saying that she's going to the gym. And so what they did was they looked at the pattern on the text messages from the Verizon phone bill and said, okay, it's mostly these nights. Now, mind you, she's like 12 months pregnant. Okay. Like, she's going to give birth at any moment. She's like, she's big as a house. Like, she's going to the gym because they say that you're supposed to, they want you to be really healthy when you're pregnant, of course. And so she says that she's going to the gym and she's just maintaining a healthy lifestyle, whatever. And so he's just letting her do her thing that she feels is right for the baby and what she feels right for her body. And the doctor said, I need to do this. And, he's like, well, you don't need to go to the gym. Like, you don't have to work out for like 100 hours. It's fine. She's like, the doctor said. And this is when I get called. So all of this stuff that you've heard up to now is stuff I found out after. So I get a call from Stacy, like I said, and she said, hey, I want you to do surveillance on this girl and or this guy. I haven't figured it out yet, but let's start with her and see, is she really going to the gym? Because now it's a pattern and we're getting, I think it was 32-week appointment because we had several weeks of surveillance before she actually gave birth. So she says, okay, I want you to do surveillance on her. I want to know where she's going. Now, at this point, Bob is like, absolutely not. We're not hiring a PI. But Stacy's like, bro, no.
Really quick, this podcast is brought to you by Delete Me. If you've been listening to us, you've heard us talk about them, and it's one of our favorite partners because we think it's such a valuable resource. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online. And, we're in a time where surveillance and data breaches are very common. Makes everybody vulnerable. Mackenzie knows as a PI that pretty much everything is out there. Delete Me allows you to protect your personal privacy or the privacy of your business from doxing attacks, sensitive information being exploited. It is a great first step for seeing what is out there. And basically, it gives you a report and it shows you what's out there. And then you can choose if you want it to help you get rid of it. It also continues to work for you. It's a subscription, so it's always working in the background. This will help when you get those text messages that say, hey, I'm from this recruiting company and I've got the perfect job for you. And then you realize it's a scam. That's because these data brokers have all our information, and Delete Me can help you get off those lists. The New York Times Wirecutter named Delete Me their top pick for data removal services. So we're a big fan. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/dating detectives and use the promo code TDD at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/dating detectives and enter code TDD at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/dating detectives, code TDD.
So I do a surveillance on her from the house. She goes from the house to the gym and she's walking on the treadmill and she's walking kind of slow, but she's moving. And that's kind of all you can ask for when you're 100 months pregnant. And
hey, if that's what you do when you're not pregnant, I'm proud of you.
Right? So I go in the gym. I'm videotaping her. I want to know what she's doing. I'm just videotaping. And she's clearly working out. Well, then she gets off the treadmill. She walks outside and I'm like, oh, I guess she's leaving. Like she just did her 30 minutes, like literally 30 minutes on treadmill and she was done. And she walks outside, but she doesn't get into her car. She gets into a different car. And this different car belongs to Steve. So Steve's in a parking lot of the gym and she gets into his car. I videotape her getting into his car and they're in his car for about 45 minutes. There's window tint. So I do not know what's going on inside that car. It does not take a rocket surgeon, but I can tell you that about 10 minutes after she got into the car starts up and just sits there in the parking
No.
lot for several more minutes. So I cannot speak to what happened inside that car. So it turns out that she gets into Steve's car and that's what she did every time she went to the gym. Well, so Adam and Steve, they're professional men. They work 9 to 5. Well, Steve was saying that he was going to therapy. He
Oh
wants
my God.
Steve
Worst
is,
excuse for an affair I've ever heard. I
and
hate it.
here's why he's going to therapy. He tells Adam, he says, I'm struggling with the fact that you had sex outside of our marriage to get pregnant, and I want to learn how I can handle this and deal with this issue in a way that I can be supportive of you because I know that I agreed to this, but it is really hard. Totally get that,
Oh,
right?
totally get that.
And he's like, it's sitting in my head that you had sex with this woman and I'm just really struggling with it. So I want to go to therapy. Well, therapy is at the same time homegirl's going to the gym. So Bob had never said anything because Bob's a little embarrassed and he's only confided in his sister Stacy, right? Well, Bob decides, all right, I'm going to call Adam. So Bob and Adam get together and he's like, bro. And Adam's like, bro. And he's like, bro. And so
Something's off.
something's legit. And Adam's like, I'm so glad you messaged me. He said, because that day when Steve texted that in the group chat on accident, he said that after that happened, Steve was panicked and he was not having a good day. Like he was very shaky and he was weird and his mouth was dry. And he was like, I tried to connect with him intimately and I tried to kiss him and he was pulling away from me and just being all weird and just very like standoffish. And he's like, and so I thought something was weird, but I didn't want to make you guys feel weird because Adam's like, I already feel bad that I had sex with this woman so that we could be parents. And so
yeah, it's already weird.
it's like it, and now they all agreed to it, which is great. But looking back on it, he's like, gosh, like I already kind of feel bad for Steve because I did have to have sex with this woman so we could be parents, which
That's
we
the kind
all
of thing
agreed
you
to.
don't know how you're going to feel until it's done.
Yeah. So I do the surveillance. I'm paid to just do the surveillance. I'm paid to document what they are doing. And I document this pattern more than once as a pattern. She goes to the gym. She's walking. She goes outside, gets into the car with Steve, who is a gay man. And so.
And you do it one time. You only see them one time or you go a few times?
No, a few times.
Oh, I missed that.
So
Okay.
I'm sorry. So this is over the course of 3 weeks.
Oh my
and this
gosh.
is 4 different times she goes to the gym, 4 different times she goes to get in his car, 4 different times Steve tells Adam he's going to therapy and he's going to meet with his therapist.
Did you tell anybody, Stacy or anyone, what you're finding, or you don't report back yet?
So I told Stacy, I said, give me a few weeks. Now we understand what the pattern is. Give me a few weeks. Let me see what I can find. Stacy's a mediator, so she knows that this is typically how it goes, and she trusts us. And now this girl, she pregnant as can be, and so it's important that we get this information, kind of figure out what's going on. But also now Stacy's worried about, oh God, if we confront her on this, is this going to
water's going to break?
Is this going to stress her out to the point where the baby's going to be unsafe? So Stacy decides that she's not going to share the information that I give her, and she's my client, not Bob.
Right.
Like as a private investigator, I am bound by Chapter 493, Section 619 of the Florida State Statutes. I'm not allowed to share anything with anyone except my client. The cops, the lawyers, it doesn't matter. So I tell Stacy what's going on. She decides that she's not going to share it with Bob yet because she doesn't want anything to happen to the baby. Like she's just telling Bob, like as far as Bob knows, there's no private investigator. There's no nothing. Everything's fine. She's kind of just keeping Bob calm, like kind of keeping looks like a duck floating on the water, really calm, but underneath her feet are just kicking real fast. And so because she's concerned obviously about the baby. Like she doesn't want anything to happen to the baby. So she decides she's going to keep it stress-free. She's going to wait until the baby is born.
And Adam and Bob have decided this is weird, but we're just going to keep
Adam and
getting
Bob
this
are like,
baby
this
to the
is
finish
really
line.
weird, but they're also of the same mindset. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, let's
we
not
don't have
poke
any
this bear.
proof. Like, we're not going to do anything to get the proof. And as far as they know, there's no proof gotten. So if you don't got the proof, don't get
And
got.
if you're 9 months pregnant and the family's about to have a baby, think about all the other things they're doing all day. It
Yeah.
makes sense that you're like, I don't want to deal with blowing up our lives right now.
Yeah. So
Let's keep moving.
also, Adam and Steve are excited about being parents, and that's their child. Now, mind you, we don't know what's going on in the car with Betsy and Steve. Okay, we can assume, like, it don't take a
I'm
rocket
hoping they're
surgeon.
playing
But also, they're playing Yahtzee. So, anyways, so we get to the point where we've waited several weeks. Stacy has said, "Okay, thank you for the information. I'm obviously I don't want to do anything right now with it, and that's her choice. Like she can hold on to it till she dies. I don't care. Like that's your choice. You're my client. I will honor whatever it is you want to do." So they have the baby. Okay, the baby is born. The baby is healthy. She gets to 40 weeks. Everything is quiet. I don't hear anything. I don't keep up with the Jones. Like what am I like?
Right.
I have to learn to deal with no closure. I don't know what's going on. It's not my job, right? So they have the baby, everything's fine. Now we're all healthy, and everybody decides that they're going to go back to living their lives. They are the godparents. Like, so Betsy and Bob are the godparents. They love this. Everybody loves this baby. Everybody's parents, right? Well, now Stacy comes to me and she's like, "Hey, listen, Steve and Adam are doing great. Bob is destroyed because Bob just cannot deal with the fact that he knows that something is going on, but he doesn't know what it is, and he's struggling." And so she's like, "I think I'm going to go ahead and tell him what you found. But before I do, I just want you to do surveillance one more time. I want to see what she's doing now that the baby is here."
Yeah, because maybe there's a world in which they were just doing something to support the pregnancy,
and it was just
an
emotional time. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they both were just like, we need to talk about our husbands.
Yes.
Girl. Actually,
Yeah.
now that I'm thinking about it, that would make sense to me.
I know. And like maybe they were just confiding in one another, right? Like we don't know what they were doing in that call. Like maybe they were just getting together.
Sometimes you
and
just need a vent session.
Yeah. And like Steve is gay, y'all. Steve is gay.
Yeah.
Right. So they waited a couple weeks. She's healed from the pregnancy. And so she says, I want to do another survey. I want to see something more now that she's not pregnant anymore. There's no reason for them to be as connected as they were. So Stacy goes to Bob and says, "Listen, I hired this private investigator. This is what she found. Here's the video, right? Of her going, she's working out at the gym, and then she's going into the car. And Bob's mad at Stacy because he's like, I can't believe you did this. And also, I can't believe you didn't tell me and you waited this long." So Bob decides he's going to look at the phone records again. Bob thought he was being crazy. He's like, I'm just being absurd. It's okay that they're talking. Steve is gay, number one. Number two, well, Betsy's my wife. Like, we're all in this together. It's fine. If they wanted to connect and maybe they're just, they just wanted to connect one-on-one and that's what they needed. Like, I want to support that, right? So Bob says, "All right, Stacy, you're my sister. I love you. I trust you." Pulls the phone records again.
And you have not done this second post-birth round of surveillance yet?
Correct.
Okay.
Not yet. So Stacy goes to Bob. Bob pulls the phone records again. And apparently they talk all the time.
Oh,
they are calling, they are texting.
And they're not doing it on, what if they had been using WhatsApp? Would that still be on the phone records?
App Signal, they're all encrypted, so nobody can see them. And so that's why, like when we did the crypto scam episode, they use WhatsApp because you can't track it. So they're just texting and calling. And so Bob decides he's going to confront Betsy about it. And Bob says, "Hey, Betsy, I noticed you've been talking to Steve a lot." And she's like, "Nuh-uh, no, I haven't. What are you talking about?" Like,
okay, show me your phone.
Okay, genius. So then he says, "Yeah, huh? Look at the phone records." And she's like, "Oh, that wasn't me."
Who is it? The newborn baby? Your phone?
She just straight out tells him, "Yeah, that wasn't me." And he's like, "This is literally on our phone bill." Betsy gaslights Bob so bad to the point where he no longer believes that she's talking to Steve. Like he's like,
I wish I could see what she said.
So he goes to Stacy and says, she said, "Nuh-uh, it wasn't her." And Stacy's like, "Bro," she's like, "You literally are seeing this happen in front of your face." And all she says is no. And you're like, "Okay, this is fine."
Oh, I feel really bad for Bob because that is so hard to be in that intense
he
denial.
Loves her. She's just gone through this thing.
And they have kids.
They have 2 babies of their own together. And so Stacy's like, whatever, I'm going to have her followed. And he's like, don't do that. But also, okay, cool. Like, and so now Bob's on board, right?
This isn't necessarily relevant. Who's older, Stacy or Bob?
Stacy's younger than Bob. So
Okay.
Stacy's the little sister. And she's
like, I'm not giving up. I'm not
the
stopping.
little sister with my brother's 16 months older than me.
You're like,
I'm the little sister, but
yeah.
I would go to jail for him. Like 100%. Like I would do this. I would hire an investigator too. So Stacy comes to me and says, I do want to do a surveillance. I just want to know more. I have to know more. I want Betsy followed, and I want her followed like for a straight week. I want to know what she's doing, where she's going, who she's seeing, because Bob is being gaslit. He doesn't believe the phone records now. He feels like he's crazy. So now Bob is like pulling his hair out, and Bob is stressed. He's losing weight. Like he feels sick over this because he knows something's wrong, but she's saying nuh-uh, nuh-uh. And so he's like, well, Betsy says that that's not true. So she does another surveillance. Well, she tells Bob when I'm doing the surveillance. And Bob actually knows to look out for me now. So Bob confronts me on my surveillance.
Where are you?
Betsy.
At the house?
On their street. Yeah.
Ooh.
So when I do surveillance, like I park with other cars. He doesn't know me from Adam, no pun intended. Like he doesn't know me from anybody. But he knew there was a private investigator. So he found the car with the darkest window tint, which don't take a rocket surgeon sometimes. You just kind of spot what cars belong and which cars don't. Anyways, he confronts me out on the surveillance. He's like, hey, are you the one following my wife? And I'm like, I'm sorry, who are you? I'm just a door dasher. Like, I don't know. And he's like, I know what you're doing. And he's like, I don't know what's happening. Like when he spoke to me, it was as if he was in another dimension. Like he didn't believe the words he was saying. He had no confidence in himself. Like it was so incredible that this man came and talked to me and it was like he was just babbling. And he was so distraught. It was heartbreaking to see.
I love the quote. It comes up a lot. You can't see the forest through the trees when all the trees are falling on you at once.
At once. Yep.
And it's like a fog feeling.
And that's exactly how he seemed. And so Bob's devastated. And this is towards the end of my surveillance. And I hadn't seen Betsy do anything yet. Anyways, Bob has something to do the following day. So I tell Stacy, I'm like, listen, you got to, like, if you can help me keep Bob away, it's fine. Well, she did say that Bob had a couple meetings or whatever. He wasn't going to be there. So I was like, all right, this is great. And up to this point, it's like Thursday. I'd been there all week. I hadn't seen her do anything or go anywhere. So I do surveillance on her. And sure as the day is long, she goes over to Adam and Steve's house. And sure enough, her and gay Steve, who has never been with a woman in his life, she kisses him and they are
like outside.
Like she goes to walk into the house and he pulls her into him and they're making out in front of the screen door. And I'm just videotaping this. Like gay Steve is not gay Steve. He is not gay Steve.
Yeah,
anymore.
I think he's confused about what gay means.
Because he's never been with a woman in his life. And turns out Betsy's boinking Steve. And now Adam and Steve have Betsy's baby that they're raising. They're the legal parents of. And Steve is cheating on Adam. Gay Steve is cheating on gay Adam. Gay Steve is cheating on bisexual Adam with straight Betsy, who
is with straight Bob.
Is with straight Bob and is the mother of the child.
Our charts, mental charts. Betsy had sex with Adam
to have
the baby.
Yes.
And Steve is the other husband. And now that's who she's kissing.
Yeah. And so now poor Bob is like, well, now she's got it on with both of them. And so now Bob is like, it's funny because it's like, no way. Like it's stranger than fiction.
So
but
bad. It's
also
funny.
It's diabolical. Like you literally have sex with this man just to get pregnant, which you do. And you have sex with him multiple times over multiple days because it's your ovulation period, your ovulation window. And you get pregnant, which is what you want to do. So you can be a surrogate for your good friends who look at you like a sister.
You're good
they
friends.
Trust you.
You're the worst friend.
And now not only have you had sex with Adam so that you can give him a baby, but now you're having sex with Steve. So are you ready for the kicker?
No. Yes. What?
The baby is not Adam's, it's Steve's.
Oh my God.
Yep.
What? Because I was just going to say, I want to know when it started.
So,
because I assumed it would have started during the pregnancy.
Stacy tells me, so Stacy comes back and she says, it's so weird. Like, I think it's interesting that I wonder if when you're with somebody for so long, you kind of maybe start to look alike because the baby looks a lot like Steve. It's so ironic. And I'm like, Stacy, do you realize what you just said to me?
Let's think about it.
I said, she needs a paternity test. She's like, no way, no way, no way. She's denying it the whole time. Like, she's like, no way. I can't even. And this had never crossed anybody's mind.
Not even, I didn't think about that because I assumed the affair started during the intimacy of being pregnant.
Yeah. And so you're thinking like, this is no way. Well, Stacy goes to Bob. Bob's like, no way. This cannot be true. So Bob like needs a mental institution now because Bob is losing his ever loving mind. And so Stacy goes to Bob and says, Bob, you need to demand a paternity. Like you need to. And he's like, well, it's not our child. There's nothing we can do. Legally, there's nothing they can do. It doesn't matter. Like it's not his baby. It's not her baby. They've already signed over rights. He goes to Adam and Adam says, fuck all of you. I want a paternity test.
Okay, good. I thought he was going to say, fuck all of you. I don't like this. Go away. No. Get
Adam
to the bottom
says,
of this.
I want a paternity test and I want it now.
Yeah.
So he goes, demands a paternity test. Well, it turns out that she was actually having sex with Steve. Well, they think that she was having sex with Steve before because he went back in their phone records and found that she was actually texting and calling him individually before they even did the surrogate thing.
This is gross.
So Adam and Steve end up getting divorced. Adam's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
And Steve's like, but you had sex with her. And he's like, yeah, but we agreed to this so that we could be parents. And so Steve's like, well, I wanted to have sex with her too, because then we could both be the dads. And he's like, dude, we're already both dads. Like, this is how, like this.
Right. And also, what?
Yeah.
No.
Do we need to have the birds and the bees talk? Well, Steve justifies it by saying, well, I wanted to be the dad too. So I wanted to have sex with her too. And so it's like, if we both have sex with her, then if neither one of us are the dad, then we're both the dad. Anyways, so it comes down to the fact that Adam and Steve are both the legal parents at this point. Adam says, screw you, I'm out, divorces them. They end up with split custody.
Yeah.
So it's 50-50. Like in the state of Florida, the judge always wants to, most of the time, the judge wants to do equal as possible, like 50-50. And so they both have, I don't know how they changed it legally in the courts or if they changed the legal who the daddy is or whatever.
I mean, 50-50.
But 50-50 is 50-50. Like 50-50, you know, whatever.
I mean, they were going to opt for the sake of the child, the actual biological paternity shouldn't matter.
But,
and they can do
either
that
way, Adam and Steve are the parents of this child, period. Bottom line, end of story. They are the parent. It doesn't matter who the daddy is because they both boys, they both the daddy. It's whatever. Right. And so I don't know how they change that like legally. And that kind of stuff when it involves a child is kind of locked down pretty tight. So it's not something I really dug into.
I hope that it's as painless as possible for this child.
But Betsy and Bob, however, she tells Bob the same thing that Steve told Adam, was that I didn't want one to feel left out and being the dad. So I wanted to make sure that they both felt like they were the dad. So I just had sex with them both. And that's reasonable, right?
And you're being so dramatic.
And you're being so dramatic. Like, this is stupid.
Bob.
And so, yeah. And so Bob's losing his mind. Like, he thinks that he's the crazy one because he's like, you're like, yeah, I'm stupid, I guess. And the whole time she's telling him, well, that's not, I wasn't calling and texting him. And like, it's literally, y'all, Verizon don't mess around. They put everything on the phone bill.
Also, even if it wasn't, you watched them lie about where they were going.
Yeah, and you watched them kiss. You literally had proof. Now, I will say that I never got any video, photo evidence that they were boinking, that they had sex. All I saw was them kissing when she walked into the house, and they were behind the screen door, and I got video of them kissing, and I saw her get into his car at the gym. Those 3 different times.
Well, you can observe and report, and I have drawn my conclusions, and I'm going to stick with them.
Yeah. So now the grand finale, just because I wanted to look, so I researched like who is married and who isn't.
I'm so grateful. Okay.
Everybody is divorced.
Everybody
is divorced. Adam and Steve are divorced. Betsy and Bob are divorced. Stacy is happily married.
Well, yeah. She didn't marry anyone without a full background check and
100%
trusting them.
But I would like to shout out Stacy, who is brave enough to say something is wrong. I need to look into this and I need to look out for my brother.
And I know he's going to be pissed at me. So, I mean, this happens all the time with like mental health or getting someone help in whatever capacity and they don't want it. And I know it can be hard and I think it's case by case, but I am proud of what she did because this child is like, what? It's not a good home to grow up in, where everybody's sneaking around and cheating behind your back. Like, yes, it sucks to be divorced, but it also sucks to be fully betrayed.
It almost seems like after they consented to this situation, after the deed was done, which they all enthusiastically consented to, according to every single party, after the deed was done, it almost seems like Bob felt left out, Steve felt left out. And then once Betsy and Steve were together, then Adam and Bob were feeling left out because then it was like, well, what's going on with Betsy? So now Betsy has had sex with every single one of these men, from what we understand. And what? Like, can you not, honestly? And so now her and Bob are divorced. And yeah, you earned money. Like, they paid you so that you could have this child for them or whatever, which is great. But now you've got, it's just so much betrayal. And Adam is destroyed because he thought, he was like, it's almost like, well, Adam got to have sex with her. Like, he got to step out. Like, so do I.
It's like, honey, we didn't think you wanted that, first of all.
Yeah. So I will let you know that Bob has moved on since then. He has a lot of him and his children on his social media. He seems happy. He has a girlfriend. As far as this is just based on social media, obviously social media, the internet ain't real. So you never know how happy he actually is. But according to his current social media, he appears to be genuinely happy and has a new girlfriend, and he has pictures of him and his kids. So good for him if he is genuinely happy. Stacy's happily married. She's got her youngins. Betsy is single. Steve is single, and Adam is single, as far as I can tell.
First of all, can I just say, last night, Mackenzie was like, I don't know if I have a good story. And I'm just dying because this is, I know it's a hard story, but this is a wild story.
Also, you guys have to understand, like, okay, I've been a PI for 20 years. This is 20 years worth of stuff. When you're doing surveillance, you're like, oh, yep, another day at the office. All right, going home now. And you don't realize that there's a lot of intensity to these stories because this is just, you become numb to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't really have any good stories that are, because we want to tell a story that's like entertaining, obviously. Like, we want a good podcast. Like, we want people to be like, oh man, that was a crazy story.
Right. It also makes you learn more when it's interesting.
Yeah, we're here to share like interesting stories, but also it feels so sensationalized as you tell it that it almost seems it's stranger than fiction. And so it's so easy for people to kind of not realize that this stuff actually happens. And people hire private investigators because private investigators, we really see
stuff.
People will, it's amazing what people do when they think no one's watching. And at the end of the day, this stuff really happens and everybody thinks, oh, that's crazy. That'll never happen to me.
Oh,
yes,
that's
it
when
will.
you're vulnerable.
That's when you're vulnerable. So you kind of almost, I hate to say it, but
trust but verify.
Trust but verify. Like, that's kind of why I don't trust anybody, because this is my life has been following these cases where people just don't tell the truth. And I don't want to be someone who's like, don't trust anybody, but also like, so that's why I kind of hesitate to share these stories, because it's like,
yeah, you don't want to leave people with.
I don't want people to be like, well, I can't trust anybody, but it's hard.
Both things can be true. You can find wonderful community.
Yeah.
And also keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah. And also just don't think that, oh, well, he's gay, so that'll never happen. Or like when she says, when a guy says, oh, I'm really insecure about you hanging out with him, and you're like, yeah, but he's gay. Like, well, now we know that that's not always the solution.
It's also so hard, like being in the community, seeing stories where people take advantage of the excuse or the identity in order to betray people. There's bad people in every community, every group of people. There's dogfish everywhere. And it's not fun to hear these stories because you're like, I don't claim him. But
and I also want to say
there.
Another reason that I hesitate sharing these stories, or that I don't want, like, I don't take like joy in sharing these, is because this is a really beautiful situation. Like, this can be a really, really beautiful situation where someone sacrifices a part of their body to help other people become
like
parents.
Phoebe on Friends.
Yeah. And so that can be a really beautiful situation. And it has been, I am certain there have been hundreds of thousands of success stories of this. Like, there's got to be a ton of people that have successfully been a surrogate for someone else. They have given someone the gift of being a parent, which, by the way, is the greatest my son is the greatest gift I have ever been given. I am
And
so grateful
theirs
for him.
is
And
too.
and if you are gay and those opportunities maybe seem a little further away for you, so when someone
getting
is
harder.
willing to give you this, like I think that's an incredible story. So I never want it to I never want to dissuade someone from pursuing that. And
Right,
so
but if this helps someone do a little due diligence and trust their gut
yeah.
when they're in that situation, Mackenzie,
Yeah.
think about the difference that makes.
But it just seems like at first, like you're like, oh, that's so wonderful that they come together, right? And then just to see how it all kind of
I knew what setting we
unraveled.
were in. I had my doubts. But
Yeah.
I do agree. Yeah, there is a world in which this is a beautiful,
I
beautiful
never want to
thing.
destroy anybody's idea of this beautiful gift. Like I'm imagining this isn't a standard, like everybody cheats situation,
It's
but
the
this
same
case was really
thing.
bad.
We tell a lot of stories about marriages that don't go well. We still know that marriage can be beautiful.
Yeah, of course.
Same
And so
thing.
I guess I just don't, I don't know. I don't want to, shit on anybody's party. Like,
Oh, don't
it
worry.
can be
Betsy
beautiful.
and Steve did that all on their own.
Yeah. And now this poor baby that was made from love initially from these 4 people who agreed that they wanted these 2 men to be able to be parents to a child. Now this child is here, and because of your, I don't know, a little bit of selfishness, maybe like a little bit of not really your lack of consideration, and now you've affected this child ultimately.
The whole life, the life of everyone involved and the other children. It's so sad. I'm thinking about Adam because not only is it just terrible to be cheated on, but what a unique scenario for him to be going through the vulnerability of
Having sex with the woman just to have a
that's
baby.
not a common scenario.
Right.
And then
and then to
I'm
have it
laughing
thrown in
'cause
your
it's so
face
crazy.
and then to have it thrown in your face and being used against you as the reason for your spouse to cheat on you because but it was like, no, dude, we agreed to do this. This is something
this
we
was
agreed on.
honestly
So that
a sacrifice for him. I know somebody might be like, oh, he got to have sex. But like, no, I think a good person would be like, I know this is vulnerable and unique and weird and
but we
challenging.
did this together. We agreed on this, fella. Like, you can't then say, well, you did this to me, so now I'm gonna like. That's not really fair.
I wish, and obviously we won't because everybody's anonymous, but I almost wish we could connect the guest who went through the scenario where her OBGYN had an affair with her wife while our guest was the one giving birth. Because that's another, like the context of being pregnant or being or expecting a child, being where you're dealing with the cheating scenario adds just another layer of emotion that I can't, like there's got to be a small but very good support group because that is very unique. I'm just devastated for him.
Yeah. And imagine, number one, how hard it is to be, I can't even imagine how hard it is to be a gay man, to be a gay person, because there's just so much, like, there's a lot of hatred still surrounding it. Like, it's still not as widely accepted as it should be. So being gay or being bisexual already is hard. Not to mention,
especially when your husband's like, I didn't think this was real.
Yeah.
But I guess you can be bi.
I guess so, maybe. So that's already hard. And then realizing that you're gay, but you also want children. And then finding someone that's willing to give you this gift just to be kind of slapped in the face. It just kind of sucks, the whole thing. And so really, but I'm curious to know what our audience thinks. Like, do you blame Betsy for, do you blame her? It's like, yeah, she cheated.
I was gonna say, are you asking me? Because yes.
Did Steve cheat? Yeah. Did Adam cheat? No.
No.
I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Adam cheated.
No, cheating is betrayal. Cheating is lying. And there was no lying on his end.
Also, if you put yourself in this position where you're going to have sex with someone else to get, someone might argue, well, he did put himself in that position to have sex with someone else. So of course Steve is going to feel some type of way.
Yeah. And Steve can talk about it like an adult.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm so mad.
No, you're absolutely right. So it's kind of, I'm curious to know, like, if anybody has a differing opinion or, who they kind of feel the most empathy for.
Yeah. I'm also curious I would love to put out, this is me being the romantic, stories if you have had a successful surrogacy situation that is healthy and beautiful and you've found a way to incorporate it in a way that the children and everyone involved are getting everything they want out of it and
Mhm.
being heard, send it to me. I will read it on a Patreon episode so that we can remember that love is
Yes.
real.
Love is real. Love is
Especially,
really
yeah,
real.
especially if you're queer and found a way to work through it. If you, I mean, you don't have to share. I know that's very personal, but if you did go the same route as them and get a friend to, you know,
I would love to know other surrogacy stories
Yeah.
that you did not take the medical route, where you kind of took it upon yourself to pursue a pregnancy or to pursue
Yeah.
parenthood. I would like to know if anybody experienced that, and if you would have done things differently, or how that affected your partnership with your spouse or whatever. I would
that
like
would be
to know.
so good because we try to
I
give.
would love to hear success stories of that.
Yeah.
And even horror stories if you have one, but I'd love to know how other people have experienced that. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of our
It's a
show,
unique situation.
very, and there's not a lot of information about it, like super public. I'm sure if you dig, there is, but like our show is often trying to take from these stories what we can learn. We have not been in that experience. If you have and you feel like there's information you wish was more public, hey, we've got 2 microphones.
Who do you think was the dogfish in the story?
I think Steve and
I think Steve.
Betsy. I think Steve and Betsy.
I think Betsy was the cheater. I think Steve was the dogfish.
Yeah, but a cheater's a dogfish.
Yeah. But
She
I
was
think
saying that she was
Steve
not doing what she was saying she was on the
I
treadmill the whole
think
time.
Steve ultimately was the ultimate dogfish.
He was a
because
double dogfish.
He was a double dogfish. He was gay, but then bisexual. So he was like not gay, but then he was cheating.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not going to say
Betsy-
he's bi because who knows, but he's whatever the fuck he is. He's a
Yeah,
dick.
whatever the titles are. I don't know what y'all
Exactly. It's
choosing
like
for titles,
it's just he's lying. Like,
yeah. And so, yeah, I think him and Betsy for sure. By the way, I wanted to tell you, as I was doing my research before I told this story, there is a civil suit that Betsy has against Stacy. And it hasn't, it's in process. Like she's filed the suit. It has not gone to court yet.
And you
but
don't know what it's
I
about?
have no idea yet.
but nobody's reached out to you, so it could be something entirely different.
And so I think I'm going to, but I kind of want to keep like,
yeah.
finding out like it's public knowledge. It's public information.
I
so
will
I'm
buy
gonna-
you an ice cream cone if you promise to report back.
I do love snacks.
Let's go.
But I'll have to keep an eye on that because I would love to do a follow up and see what the civil suit is.
Please,
Mhm.
everyone tell us your thoughts. If you knew where this was going at the beginning, if you also were squirming in your chair and thinking about throwing things across the room, because that's kind of what I was going
What
through.
was your WTF moment?
That Steve was the father. I
Yeah.
actually did not think that. I really thought that
I
it had started while she was pregnant.
Yeah, you would think that it was Adam because that's who but she was.
Because also why? Now I'm like, why was Steve agreeing to Adam? I mean, I get he's saying he's gay. He doesn't want to have sex with him and he's not going to blow his cover.
Yeah.
But it seems so strange to me that he and Adam had that conversation and we're like, yeah, Steve was like, this is a good idea. Let's get my husband to have sex with the woman I'm having an affair with and tie her to us for the rest of our lives. Maybe because he thought it would be easy to keep the affair going.
I think that Betsy and Steve
Is it a kink?
came up with this idea together. I think that Steve was like, you should get Adam to do it because it makes more sense because he's
and then
bi
they'll
and I'm
never
not.
suspect
And then
me.
they'll never suspect me because I'm gay. And if I say that I'm not gay, then I'll look like a big fat liar, which you came out to be a big
and
fat
it'll
liar.
seem like I want to have sex with you,
Yeah.
which we can't seem
That's
like
what-
because I
That's
really
what it
do.
seems like. I feel like they
Yep.
were intimately connected before and they had come up with that together.
Well,
It's diabolical either way, right? It's crazy.
I'm so mad at them. And karma is get them. And I really do hope. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. The gym and the therapy excuses. Come on.
And for her, okay.
Great
and
excuses.
also, I bet so many people have been like, oh my God, that's me too. When someone says, like, just for instance, my nephew, Jake, right? When he's like 14 now, but when he was younger, he would like punch my other nephew, his big brother, Mikey. His big brother, Mike, he would punch him. And then I would see him do it. And I'd be like, Jake, why'd you do that? And he'd be like, do what? I didn't do that. And I'm like, no, for real, bro. I literally just saw you. He's like, nah. And I was like, bro, I literally just saw you. He's like, no. And he would go to his grave denying. And that's exactly what Betsy did when Bob came to her and was like, yo, these phone bills. And she's like, nope, wasn't me.
I don't have a phone.
And how many of us have, like, I'm sure there's a time when you've looked back and gone, oh, maybe I'm crazy. And you just don't realize that you're literally, that's gaslighting.
That's gaslighting.
And you're like, gosh, maybe I'm crazy.
And I think it's not a foolproof solution. Writing a lot down can help you review your own thoughts and your own reality, because it's so easy.
Because then you lose trust in yourself. But when you write it down, it's like, no, I literally wrote this. I remember that happened. I even wrote it down.
I do it even when I'm like, I don't know how I'm feeling about a situation. Sometimes I'll look back and realize that I've been writing the same negative feeling over the course of a couple months.
And then you can see.
And you're like, wait, okay, this is a persistent thing. And you don't even remember. And that's just in my own head. Imagine when someone else is gaslighting you.
Yeah.
So everyone get your journals out. Go journal and just check in with yourself, your community. Stacy, yeah, let us know what you think of Stacy. I think it's totally fair to think maybe she overstepped. I am kind of pro Stacy, but it's to each their own. And I hope Bob's okay, and I hope the kids are all okay.
I appreciate you, Stacy. So, but curious to know what you guys think and what your WTF moment was, and if you like, did you think it was Steve at all? And I was just like, oh, Steve's gay, so for sure it's not him.
Wait, can we make that a thing? I love that. From now on, every episode on social or on the platform you're listening, moment? You can like literally leave a comment and just say my WTF moment and then tell us what it is, because that's a fun way to track how people are doing. Also, maybe put spoiler in front because we don't want other people to see it.
Yeah, but definitely like, what was your WTF moment?
Yeah, I need to know.
Thank you guys for listening and sharing these stories with us. And please know, I know a little bit of that might have been triggering, especially if you've been in a situation like this, but it's real and it happens. And so please share with us if you have your own story. Please just email us, investigate@thedatingdetectivespodcast.com.
And our socials, a lot of you talk there, which is amazing. I will add that Patreon,
the engagement is really cool on
I
our
was just going to
socials.
say, like, the community on Patreon is kind of next level. If you do want to talk through feelings about any episode, I love how you guys support each other there. So $5 a month. And we have book club coming up on the 18th, and we're reading the book called Pretty Things. And if you don't want any ads, you can do $9 a month and get everything on Patreon plus no ads.
And always, you guys, as Stacy taught us today, as always,
trust your femme tuition. Mackenzie, you're the best storyteller. I love you.